The Prime Minister clears the air on the sale of land at the villages at Coverley. Fire breaks out at the Mount Gay Rum Distillery in St. Lucie. And coming up in sports, the President's 11 bats failed to impress in the first warm-up game of the England tour.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley has cleared the air following opposition calls for disclosure on the arrangements with the developers of Coverley. As you know, the villages at Coverley is being used to house students of Ross University. Now, last year, opposition leader Bishop Joseph Atherley stated it was in the best interest of the government and the public to come clean about Coverley. The Prime Minister, during debate on the Public Finance Management Bill, says government didn't have to go the route of taxing to bring Ross University to Barbados. She says a decision was taken to sell the land at a price to give greater returns. It was sold for $13.5 million.
So that we have no part of it. But the coffers of the Crown will be $13.5 million richer for land that has been in the possession of the same developer for almost 10 years without a cent coming to the Crown for that particular set of land for which we have now received money. Do you understand what I just said to you, Mr. Speaker? That land was in their possession. It could have been in their possession for another 10, 15 years if the houses didn't sell. And the government of Barbados would get nothing.
All major contracts for private-public partnerships will be laid in Parliament. Prime Minister Motley assured Barbadians of government's commitment to integrity, transparency, accountability and honesty. The Prime Minister says the move is to avoid another Cahill situation. Now, she's described the public finance management legislation as a major development in the governance of Barbados.
We have agreed that it will come in by a date to be proclaimed. We expect that date to be September, largely because there are administrative systems that have to be put in place to ensure that ministries can comply with the law. In spite of that, however, we are going to go ahead with the changes in the standing orders, subject to the Standing Orders Committee agreeing to them, of course, that will allow us to have a new form of process for estimates of expenditure and revenue in the House of Assembly.
Prime Minister Motley says Barbados must regain its reputation for which it was once known for.
And this is the kind of government that I believe the members on this side and that side who constitute the government want to be a part of. And Mr. Speaker, there are other offences in here, some of which, had they existed fully, might have been more appropriate, like the taking up of computers and the destroying of data.
Listen to this. 2019 will be a memorable one for Barbados because it will usher in the most significant transformation any small country has undergone in the history of the world. That's the view of Minister of Innovation, Science and Smart Technology, Senator Kay McConney. She says the Prime Minister has made it clear it cannot be business as usual in Barbados, and with that in mind, Senator McConney revealed that her ministry will be driving the digital transformation of the economy. She says the public sector has to be modernized.
The present processes are too cumbersome and outmoded. The movement of paper through the system is inefficient, costly, frustrating to businesses and citizens alike, and it simply cannot continue. The government has therefore sought funding to embark on an ambitious program to digitize its records, to enable its services, and to drive a cultural change in the public service.
Speaking at a Dell PBS digital transformation session, Senator McConney says it's critical for digital technology to be front and center of Barbados' legislative agenda.
That said, the government is moving at pace to both update and create enabling legislation. This includes the Data Protection Bill, which has been in abeyance since 2005, a new Telecommunications Act that reflects the nuances of a more converged environment and enables a more competitive market, cybersecurity and cybercrime, just to mention a few. New policies and regulations are needed to promote open data and transparency at the national level, and to enable a single ICT space with the regional community of CARICOM.
General Manager of PBS, Alvin Nash, says his company has been working closely with Dell to establish itself as one of the leaders in ICT in Barbados and the region.
So that we can support some of the ideas at a national level, a business level, a corporate level. We believe that Dell has a dynamic portfolio and that PBS's extended portfolio complements each other so that we can bring a rich opportunity to the market.
The National HIV and AIDS Commission is playing a part in helping develop educational tourism locally. The Commission is doing so through a partnership with an American university. Kishmar Singis visited the Warren's St. Michael offices of the Commission and filed this report.
Meet Jessica Bober, Deja White, and Caitlin Bobis. They are among the latest batch of interns from the University of Delaware. The young women are on island as part of their human services program. Since arriving in Barbados, they have not only had the opportunity to be immersed in Barbadian culture, but they have also gained first-hand experience in the field.
We did a lot of stuff this week. We went to the Ministry of Youth Affairs. We worked with the Youth Commissioner, Marcus. It was very informative. We went into the blocks across the island. We went into CNN. We went into Red Zone. We went into Baby's Lane. We went on the block so that we can get a basic understanding of what are some of the challenges of the youth. You know, we recognize that this month we're dealing with drugs and substance abuse, so we had the opportunity to see all these things firsthand.
For Jessica, she was moved by the collaboration between the HIV/AIDS Commission and the various organizations in Barbados.
Back at home, it's very individualized, and although we do interact with other organizations occasionally, it's not as frequent as it is here, and it appears to be.
Deja assisted with VCT testing in the polyclinic. That experience was a good one. She supports efforts to reach out to young Barbadians.
I see that you all really focus on the youth and trying to educate them about HIV and AIDS and how that can be prevented. So I think that you all do a great job doing that, and I think that some of the methods you use to prevent the younger audience from getting HIV is definitely something that can be used back at home.
For Caitlin, she wants Barbados to go the extra mile in ensuring that social workers are adequately qualified.
For here, you guys don't need to necessarily go to grad school or have a PhD in social work, whereas back at home, we need to go to 4 years of college. After that, we need to then go on to grad school and get our master's in social work in order to obtain a job as a social worker anywhere. So we need to have that extra education.
The interns are in Barbados until early February. Kishmar Singis, CBC News.
Thanks, Kishmar. Thankfully, Barbados has not had a case of measles in recent memory, and health officials are hoping this will not change anytime soon. This revelation from Dr. Adrian Lord in light of the recent outbreak of the disease once thought to be eradicated. He says the resurgence of the disease is due to the decision by some parents not to immunize their children out of fear of the negative side effects. However, Dr. Lord says complications from the vaccine are minimal.
A slight fever may occur in 1 in 10 children. You might soreness in the area in 1 in 20 or 1 in 30 children from any immunization. But the risks are very, very minimal. But there have been anecdotal cases that you will see which may have said that given the immunization caused some child some illness, and therefore sometimes that is a problem. Sometimes people are allergic to some of the components in the vaccine and not of the actual virus that is given as well. And of course, if the child is immunosuppressed for some other reason, may have some other condition, leukemia or so, and then it may not react properly to the vaccine to make the antibodies.
Well, since September, there have been 1,300 cases in the U.S. and more than 60,000 cases in Europe in 2018 alone. The disease is highly contagious and can be spread through the direct contact or by droplets in the air. With thousands of visitors likely to vacation here over the next few months, Dr. Lord says local health officials are verifying that the immunization records of all children are up to date.
That has started this week, and that will allow us to determine our immunization, our immune status, and those persons who may not have been immunized, the parents will be encouraged to have them immunized, or they will be given the jab with the permission of the parents. Those workers, because they're likely to cause spread to other children in the thing if it does come. So what we are doing is prevention, because the curative methods or the treatment methods are expensive and could be very dangerous and could be disheartening, and the complications, as I mentioned, the brain damage, permanent neurological damage could occur, or it could be fatal.
A new type of physical therapy is being used by some therapists, and it's reaping very positive results. Lisa Broom has more.
When people think physical therapy, they imagine or have experienced this. But now there is an alternative that is growing in popularity here in Barbados. It's hot water pool therapy, one of the tools used by the Warren's Physiotherapy Clinic. Stephanie Trotman is a registered physiotherapist.
We can get up to 90% deweighted in the water so that you're not feeling that pressure on the knees and the hips. So it makes exercise relatively pain-free in the water, and that's what we want, to encourage more movement so that they can get that improved function transferable on land eventually.
Andre Moore, an exercise physiologist, explains the specific benefits of heat therapy.
It relaxes the muscles a bit more. It helps to increase blood flow. Helps to stimulate healing, but then that can also be contrasted with a cold pool as well, because there are instances where we use both cold and hot therapy. So hydrotherapy is not just about the hot aspect, but there are times where we actually want to use a cold pool. So if you're talking about an ice bath, for example.
And the patients who seek relief in using this method are quite happy with the results. Gail Atkins, who has sciatica, is now on her second session. She has already started to feel the benefits.
Surprisingly, the pain that I would have at the side of my leg actually disappeared.
Gail explains her routine.
So there are lifts, leg lifts, side raises, walking in the pool, no running yet, squats in the pool, things like that.
Rosalind Williams says the hot water therapy has helped her to avoid having hip replacement surgery.
If I sit long and I go to stand, I get excruciating pain. Right. And it takes about 10 minutes for me to really get myself together to get up. Right. So after doing some sessions with her and coming to the pool, I find that pain has subsided. And now I can get up easier. I can move around easier. You still get a bit of discomfort, but not as much.
Lisa Broom, CBC News.
Let's get back to this big story now that fire at Mount Gay Distilleries in St. Lucie brought rum production to a premature halt. Our Rianne Phillips has more.
These flames here on this tank of alcohol were just a small indication of the magnitude and complexity of the fire.
Once we mobilized the appliances from Bridgetown and Arch Hall Fire Station, arriving on scene, we discovered that it was an alcohol tank that was involved in the fire. The tank normally holds about 300,000 gallons of alcohol. We were informed that it was about half full, and the current situation is that the roof of the tank has been ruptured, allowing the flames that is burning the alcohol to escape.
It is understood the fire started after 2 p.m. when a loud explosion was heard. A massive team under the command of Deputy Fire Chief Henderson Patrick brought the blaze under control.
Currently, we have 26 officers attending to the incident, and they have been complemented by 4 water tenders. We have the combination platform ladder, which we are using to offer the cooling and also the dispersal of the media, the phone media, and also we have what we refer to as a multimedia appliance.
Staff members were evacuated and some moved to the south of the building for safety reasons. However, 2 of them were not that lucky.
My information is that at least 2 persons have been sent for medical attention. It is difficult at this point in time to determine the level of injury that they may have sustained. If they no injuries of concern, I believe it is preliminary, but nobody else within the vicinity that we were made aware of suffered any injuries or damage from the incident.
Officials from Mount Gay are expected to issue a statement on the matter later. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.